Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something straight up. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who work. You got to force yourself to get things done even when you don't feel like it. I know that sounds tough, but that's the truth. You can't sit around waiting for motivation to strike because it won't. Motivation is overrated. What matters is discipline, the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't want to do it. Every successful person you've ever admired, every person who made it to the top didn't feel like it every single day. They just did it anyway. Self-discipline is the foundation of success, and without it, nothing meaningful can ever be achieved. You see, people often talk about dreams, goals, and success, but what they fail to understand is that none of it happens without discipline. Discipline is doing what you said you would do long after the feeling of excitement has faded. It's getting up when you'd rather sleep, showing up when no one's watching, and pushing through when quitting feels easier. Success doesn't come from talent alone. It comes from consistency, from doing the small, boring, difficult things over and over again. Self-discipline is the muscle that separates those who wish from those who win. Every successful person, from athletes to entrepreneurs, has built their life on this principle. They didn't rely on luck. They didn't wait for the perfect moment. They trained their minds to obey their goal. When you have self-discipline, you develop control over your emotions, your impulses, and your distractions. The truth is, your mind will always try to protect you from discomfort. It will tell you to rest when you need to work, to delay when you need to act, and to stop when you're just getting started. Discipline is the voice that tells you do it anyway. It's not about being perfect. It's about being committed. You have to make a decision that your goals mean more than your feelings. Feelings come and go, but discipline stays. The moment you understand that your emotions are temporary, but your results are permanent, you start to see progress. You stop waiting for the right mood to start. You realize that the discipline you show today becomes the freedom you enjoy tomorrow. Look around you. Every great story you've ever heard, every successful person you've ever admired, all of them practice one thing relentlessly: self-discipline. When Steve Harvey was sleeping in his car, it wasn't comfort that got him out of that situation. It was discipline. He kept working, kept believing, kept doing the things most people wouldn't do. Discipline doesn't always give you immediate rewards, but it always gives you long-term results. It's about saying no to instant gratification so you can say yes to your future. The person who learns to control their mind, their actions, and their habits has already won half the battle of life. Discipline also gives you focus. It sharpens your vision and keeps you from wasting time on distractions. When you're disciplined, you stop chasing every shiny object and start pursuing what really matters. You start saying no to people and things that don't align with your purpose. You become intentional. You realize that every hour, every decision, every action is shaping your destiny. Discipline makes you reliable, not just to others, but to yourself. When you promise yourself something and actually follow through, you build trust in your own word. That inner trust becomes confidence. You start to believe in yourself, not because of hype, but because you've proven to yourself that you can follow through. Most people fail not because they're not capable, but because they lack the discipline to keep going when it's hard. They start strong, but fade fast. You can't build a skyscraper on weak foundations. The same applies to your life. Discipline is that foundation. It's what keeps you standing. When things get tough, when the world says no, when your body says stop, discipline whispers, one more time. It's a mindset, a lifestyle, a decision to never back down from the work required. And the beautiful thing about discipline is, once you develop it, It spills into every area of your life. Your health, your relationships, your finances, your career. Everything improves because discipline builds structure and structure builds success. If you truly want to change your life, start with discipline. Don't wait for someone to motivate you. Motivation fades, but discipline endures. Make yourself do what's necessary, not what's easy. Wake up earlier, stay committed longer, and remind yourself every single day that self-discipline is not punishment, it's power. It's the secret weapon that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. The moment you take control of yourself, you take control of your destiny. That's where success begins, with the discipline to keep going no matter what. You will never feel ready. Do it anyway. That's one of the hardest truths most people never accept. Everyone waits for that perfect moment, the right timing, the right feeling, or the ideal opportunity to begin. But the truth is that moment doesn't exist. Readiness is a lie our minds tell us to stay safe, to stay comfortable, to avoid risk. You keep saying, I'll start when I'm more prepared, but the reality is you'll never be fully prepared for anything worth doing. You grow by stepping into the unknown, not by waiting for confidence to appear. The first step is always scary, is always uncertain, but is also the most powerful one you'll ever take. Because once you start, everything changes. Action creates clarity, and clarity creates progress. You don't wait until you're ready to act. You act until you're ready. When you understand that feeling scared or unprepared is normal, you free yourself from paralysis. Every successful person you admire once stood where you are, unsure, nervous, and doubting themselves. But they did it anyway. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't have a perfect plan, but they took that leap. And that's what separates those who achieve from those who only dream. The world doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to move despite it. Readiness is a byproduct of doing, not of waiting. You become capable through repetition, through failure, through experience, not through overthinking. Think about it. The first time you do anything, start a job, launch a business, speak in public, chase a dream, you'll never feel completely ready. That discomfort you feel is not a signal to stop. It's a signal that you're growing. Growth doesn't happen in comfort zones. It happens when you stretch yourself, when you take on challenges that make you uncomfortable. Waiting until you feel ready is just another form of fear disguised as logic. You can plan for months, you can study for years, but until you move, nothing changes. The only way to truly prepare is through doing. Every time you take action, you build confidence. Confidence doesn't come before action. It comes after. People often say, when I'm confident, I'll start. But the truth is, you have to start first to become confident. You learn by trying, by failing, by figuring things out along the way. No one who achieved greatness started with certainty. They started with faith. Faith that somehow, some way, they'd find their way through. Steve Harvey didn't know every step of his journey when he started in comedy. He just knew he had to start. If he had waited until he felt ready, he'd still be waiting today. You've got to stop letting fear of the unknown hold you hostage. Fear never really goes away. It just changes shape. You learn to live with it, work through it, and rise above it. The only way to beat fear is with action. You can't think your way out of fear. You can only move your way through it. Every small step forward makes the next one easier. Soon enough, what once terrified you becomes routine. That's how growth works. The first step feels impossible, but once you take it, your entire perspective shifts. Don't wait for the perfect timing, because timing doesn't make things happen. Effort does. The right time is when you decide to make it right. Start where you are with what you have and trust that everything else will fall into place. You'll figure it out as you go. You'll learn, you'll adapt, you'll evolve, and yes, you'll make mistakes, but that's part of the process. Mistakes are proof that you're trying, that you're alive, that you're moving. Regret only comes from the chances you never take. So the next time that little voice in your head says, "You're not ready," I want you to remember this. No one ever is. The people who win in life aren't the ones who wait until they're ready. They're the ones who start before they are. Because readiness is not a feeling, it's a decision. Decide to start now. Decide to take the leap. Decide to move forward even if your hands are shaking. Do it anyway, because every great thing you want is waiting on the other side of your fear. Comfort is the enemy of progress. It sounds simple, but it's one of the most powerful truths in life. The moment you get comfortable, you stop growing. The moment you settle into what's easy, you begin to limit what's possible. Human beings are wired to seek comfort, to stay where it feels safe, familiar, and predictable. But success doesn't live there. Success lives in the discomfort zone. Every great achievement, every powerful transformation, every story of triumph began with someone stepping out of what was comfortable. Comfort might feel good for a while, but it slowly kills your drive, your ambition, and your hunger to achieve more. The people who make a real impact in this world are the ones who learn to live with being uncomfortable. They understood that pressure, challenge, and discomfort are the price you pay for greatness. The problem with comfort is that it tricks you. It whispers in your ear that you've done enough, that you can relax now, that you deserve to take it easy. But every time you listen to that voice, you lose a little bit of your edge. You stop pushing yourself. You start accepting good enough instead of chasing great. You convince yourself that you're okay where you are, when deep down, you know you're capable of more. Comfort keeps you stuck in routines that feel safe but lead nowhere. You wake up one day realizing that a year has passed and nothing has changed, not because you lacked the opportunity, but because you chose comfort over courage. Growth, on the other hand, is always uncomfortable. It's supposed to be. When you're learning something new, when you're building discipline, when you're chasing a dream, it's never easy. You'll feel fear, you'll face doubt, you'll experience failure, but those moments are proof that you're moving forward. Discomfort is the signal that you're growing. When your muscles ache after a workout, it means they're getting stronger. When your mind struggles to learn something new, it's expanding. When your heart feels fear before taking a risk, it's preparing for courage. Nothing worth having comes without discomfort. The difference between those who achieve greatness and those who don't is that successful people learn to embrace that discomfort instead of running from it. Think about Steve Harvey's journey. He didn't get where he is by staying comfortable. There were days he didn't know where his next meal would come from, nights he slept in his car, and moments he could have given up. But he didn't. He leaned into the pain, the uncertainty, the discomfort. And that's what shaped him into the man he is today. Comfort never builds character. Struggle does. Every time life challenges you, it's offering you a choice. Stay comfortable and remain the same, or get uncomfortable and grow. Most people choose comfort and then wonder why nothing in their lives changes. The truth is, growth requires you to let go of the familiar and step into the unknown. The greatest version of yourself is waiting beyond your comfort zone. It's waiting in the extra hour you work when you're tired. It's waiting in the conversation you're afraid to have, the opportunity you're scared to take, and the dream you keep postponing. If you want more from life, you have to stop chasing comfort and start chasing purpose. Comfort gives you temporary pleasure, but progress gives you lasting fulfillment. You got to train your mind to see discomfort not as pain, but as preparation. Every time you push through something uncomfortable, you're building resilience, strength, and confidence. So the next time life feels uncomfortable, don't run from it. Don't look for the easy way out. That feeling of discomfort is a sign that you're on the right path. It means you're evolving, becoming better, getting closer to your goals. Comfort is the enemy because it keeps you ordinary, but discomfort is your greatest teacher. Embrace it. Live in it. Let it stretch you, challenge you, and mold you into who you're meant to be. Because once you learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable, there's no limit to what you can accomplish. Success requires pushing through excuses. Every single person in this world has a list of excuses ready to go at any moment. Too tired, too busy, too late, too hard, too risky, too complicated. The truth is, excuses are the chains that keep people locked in the same place year after year. They sound reasonable, they feel comfortable, and they let you off the hook for not doing what you know you should do. But if you want to win in life, you have to stop believing your own excuses. You have to silence that inner voice that keeps feeding you reasons to quit and start feeding your mind reasons to keep going. Successful people feel the same doubts, fears, and laziness as everyone else. They just refuse to let those feelings control their action. Excuses are easy because they protect your ego. They make you feel better about not trying. When you say, I didn't have time, or I'll start next week, what you're really saying is, I chose something else over my goal. Excuses shift the responsibility away from you and place it on your circumstances. But the truth is, life doesn't care about your excuses. Results don't care about how you feel. The world rewards execution, not explanation. The people who rise to the top are the ones who show up regardless of how they feel. They push through exhaustion, they fight through frustration, and they take action even when everything inside them says stop. Every excuse you accept builds a wall between you and your dream. The more you let yourself off the hook, the weaker your discipline becomes. It's like a muscle. If you stop using it, it gets soft. Every time you break an excuse, you strengthen your willpower. You prove to yourself that you're in control, not your mood, not your circumstances, not your comfort. The reality is, no one ever built a legacy by doing what was convenient. Greatness demands that you do the hard thing, the uncomfortable thing, the thing you least want to do. When you push through excuses, you start to develop a level of self-respect that nothing can shake. Steve Harvey didn't become successful by giving in to excuses. There were moments when he didn't have money, didn't have a home, and didn't have guarantees, but he still showed up. He still performed. He still chased his dream when every excuse in the world was valid. He could have said, I'm too tired, or I don't have the resources, or it's not fair, but he didn't. He understood that if you keep making excuses, life will keep giving you reasons to settle. But if you keep moving, even when it hurts, life will eventually reward your persistence. The difference between those who make it and those who don't isn't talent. It's the willingness to do what others avoid. When you stop making excuses, you start taking control of your destiny. You stop waiting for the right time, the right situation, or the right feeling. You just do what needs to be done. That's the mindset of a winner. Winners don't say, I can't. They say, how can I? Winners don't say, I'll try. They say, I will. The moment you shift from excuse to execution, your entire life changes. You start building momentum, and that momentum builds confidence. And once you feel that confidence, excuses lose their power over you. Excuses are the comfort zone's greatest weapon. They sound harmless, but they destroy dreams slowly, quietly, and permanently. If you want to stand out, you've got to reject that comfort You got to push yourself on the days you don't feel like it, because those are the days that count the most. Anybody can work hard when it's easy, but real success comes from working hard when it's not. The next time you hear that voice in your head saying, just skip it today, understand that's the voice of mediocrity. Push through it. Do it anyway. Because every time you defeat an excuse, you move one step closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. Consistency beats motivation every time. Most people think success is about feeling inspired, staying excited, or being motivated all the time. But that's not the truth. Motivation is temporary. It comes and goes like the weather. Some days you'll wake up ready to conquer the world, and other days you won't even want to get out of bed. That's just human nature. The real difference between those who achieve their goals and those who don't isn't how motivated they are, it's how consistent they are. Consistency means showing up whether you feel like it or not. It means doing what needs to be done even when there's no applause, no recognition, and no immediate result. It's the quiet grind, the repetition, the daily commitment that builds greatness over time. Every successful person has learned this truth. They didn't reach the top because they were motivated every day. They reached it because they were disciplined enough to keep going when the motivation faded. Steve Harvey didn't always feel excited to keep performing or pushing through obstacles, but he stayed consistent. He knew that the small daily actions repeated over time will lead to something big. That's what success really is. The result of ordinary people doing ordinary things consistently with extraordinary discipline. It's not about how fast you move. It's about how long you can keep moving. The people who make it in life are not always the most talented. They're the most persistent. Motivation gets you started, but consistency keeps you growing. You can't build a strong body by going to the gym once. You can't build wealth by saving money one time. You can't build mastery by practicing only when you feel like it. True growth comes from repetition. When you are consistent, you create habits. And those habits begin to carry you even when your energy runs low. It's like brushing your teeth. You don't need motivation to do it. You just do it because it's part of your routine. That's the goal, to turn your goals into habits so powerful that skipping them feels unnatural. Once you reach that level, you no longer rely on motivation. You rely on your commitment. The hardest part of consistency is the waiting. You put in the work, but you don't see the results right away. That's where most people give up. They think it's not working, but success takes time. It's like planting a seed. You don't dig it up every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you care for it, you trust the process. The same applies to your goals. You might not see progress immediately, but that doesn't mean it's not happening. Every small effort adds up. Every single day you stay consistent, you build a momentum. And momentum is unstoppable once it starts rolling. There will be days when it feels like you're wasting your time. There will be moments when you question if it's all worth it. That's when you have to remind yourself why you started. Those who quit too soon never realize how close they were to breaking through. The secret is to stay consistent, especially when it's hard. That's when your discipline gets tested, and that's when character is built. Anyone can keep going when things are easy, but it takes strength to keep showing up when results are slow. If you can do that, success becomes inevitable. Consistency builds trust, not just with others, but with yourself. When you keep promises to yourself day after day, you build confidence. You start to believe that you can rely on yourself to get things done. That belief changes everything. It gives you power, purpose, and peace of mind. So stop chasing the feeling of motivation and start chasing consistency. Because at the end of the day, the person who wins is not the one who's the most excited. It's the one who never stops. Consistency is the bridge between goals and results, between dreams and reality, between where you are and where you want to be. Keep showing up, keep working, keep believing. Even when it's boring, even when it's tough, even when no one's watching, because that's how champions are made. The rewards only come after the struggle. That's one of life's most unshakable truths. Every great thing you'll ever experience, success, freedom, peace, fulfillment, will always come on the other side of hardship. The world doesn't hand out rewards for intentions. It rewards persistence, patience, and pain tolerance. You don't get the prize without paying the price. Too many people want the results without the grind, the victory without the battle, the glory without the story. But the truth is, struggle is what builds strength. Without struggle, you don't grow. Without resistance, you don't rise. The path to your dreams will test you, break you, and shape you, but if you keep going, it will also crown you. When Steve Harvey says success ain't easy, he's speaking from experience. He knows what it's like to struggle, to sleep in a car, to live broke, to face rejection after rejection. But those struggles weren't punishments. They were preparation. The pain he endured built the character he needed for the success that came later. That's what life does. It trains you through the hard times. Every obstacle you face is a lesson disguised as a challenge. Every setback is a setup for something greater. You can't develop strength in comfort. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified by fire, and people are shaped by struggle. The harder the journey, the greater the reward waiting at the end. A struggle teaches you things success never can. It teaches you humility, resilience, and patience. It shows you who your real friends are and who's only around for the good times. It reveals your weaknesses so you can turn them into strengths. Most importantly, it teaches you gratitude. When you've had to fight for something, you value it more deeply. When you've lost before winning, you never take victory for granted. The struggle gives meaning to your success. Without it, the reward would feel empty. People who get everything easily never build the same appreciation or strength as those who earned it the hard way. The problem today is that too many people want shortcuts. They want instant gratification, quick money, overnight fame. But shortcuts rob you of the lessons that make success sustainable. You might climb fast, but you'll fall just as quickly if you don't have the foundation that only struggle can build. The struggle is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. It's shaping you into someone capable of handling the success you're praying for. Because success comes with pressure, responsibility, and challenges of its own. If you can't handle struggle, you won't be able to handle success either. Every time life gets hard, every time things don't go your way, remember this. It's not happening to you, it's happening for you. You're being molded, refined, and prepared. When you feel like giving up, that's usually when the breakthrough is closest. The universe doesn't give you more than you can handle, but it will push you right up to your limits to show you how strong you really are. You have to learn to see the struggle as part of the process, not as a punishment. It's there to build your endurance and test your commitment. If you quit every time it gets hard, you'll spend your life starting over instead of finishing strong. The sweet part of success only feels sweet because you remember the struggle. The nights you worked late, the times you doubted yourself, the pain of failure. Those are what make victory meaningful. Every great story has moments of darkness before the light. So don't run from the struggle. Lean into it. Don't curse it, learn from it. Because every ounce of effort, every tear, every sleepless night is a down payment on your dream. The reward always comes, just not right away. You have to earn it. You have to endure long enough to deserve it. And when it finally arrives, you'll look back and realize that the struggle wasn't just part of the journey, it was the journey. It was the fire that forged you into the person capable of living your dream. So keep pushing, keep grinding, keep believing, because the struggle you're facing today is shaping the strength you'll need for tomorrow. The reward is waiting. You just have to hold on long enough to reach it.